What's up, everybody? It's Blair here, and this will be a fun video. We're doing a complete haul-up restore on a 29 Seahawk Pilothouse. This is the boat I've been wanting forever. I had a 25, absolutely loved it. So I'm going to show you how this boat got to this stage already. So we're still obviously working on it, but a lot of work has gone into making it what it is right now. And then we'll continue to show you to the end of this process when we wrap this thing up. But for now, check this out. We went and picked it up in Norfolk from Ocean View from an older gentleman that was having some health issues. Got it for a really good price, and the entire expectation was to completely restore this boat. Here we go. Little sailboat graveyard over there. All right, guys, we're in the new boat. She's running. We're doing it, Doug. Big old diesel. She's cruising. My absolute favorite place to be, up in the tower. This thing's got a heck of a view, guys. Oh man, this is gonna be a nice one for some sight fishing. Got a beautiful day today. That's Norfolk Naval Base over here. You can see some aircraft carriers off in the distance, a bunch of helicopters. We went from excitement to a little bit of disappointment. We laid down the hammer on the throttle, started blowing black smoke, and realized that we had a stuck turbo shortly after takeoff. Took about 3 hours to get around Bocosin and Newport News, Buckrow area, but we did get back to the lift. All right, guys, well, in beautiful Seaford, Virginia today, and show you the new boat, Seahawk 29 with a big old diesel in it. Well, once we realized we had a turbo issue, I called a couple different people around town. Nobody called back. So I forgot about my buddy John Askew with Endorphin Boat Works, and I reached out to him. Super helpful, got me a new turbo ordered up, full tune up, and made it to where we could get this boat on the water and start having fun with it while we decided what the next steps were for it. Motor's running great. So with the new turbo and a tune-up, we decided we were going to send it. Easton wanted to go shark fishing for his birthday, so that's the mission at hand. Jackson drove the boat. We all had a loving time. Jackson caught the first Kobe in the new boat, and Easton said we need to put outboards on this thing because it's too slow. Of course, since it's his birthday, we got to oblige. All right, guys, here at Mills Marina, here's your last look at the Caterpillar diesel in the vessel. We're about to put the backhoe on her and yank this thing out. Thanks to Kurt's handiwork, we were able to get it all unbolted, and he's got it ready to go. There she is, sitting high on blocks. Picked up a trailer yesterday from a friend of a friend for a decent price, and that's the next step, is to take the running gear off from under this thing, get the propeller off, pull the axle out, and that's it. Nothing left but the remodel after that. Moment of truth. About to give her the old tuggy tug. And we're in the Seahawk 29 on dry land. So today is the beginning of a huge undertaking. We got the diesel pulled out of the boat, and I am slowly getting this thing ready for a trailer. So I used the bilge pump to pump all the diesel and coolant and stuff that leaked down in the bottom down here. This had like 20 gallons of muck in it. So I cut the bilge pump off the side of the boat right here and used it to fill gas cans and tanks and haul the stuff away so it didn't just run on the ground and didn't make a big mess here at Mills Marina. But you'll see, that's where we're at today. My favorite place in the world. We got the shaft out. You can see that. This is your drive shaft. The propeller was on that end. That was a bear. We got that out today. Right here is where the strut was attached that holds that prop underneath there, the drive shaft. We got that out today. And now I'm wrestling with getting the tower undone. The bolts are just froze up in the legs of the tower to take that down. So when got an impact, gonna try that. If that doesn't work, we're gonna take a Sawzall to it and figure it out when we get it off, how to get them bolts out, re-tap them, and get it back to the way it should be. But I think them things have never been removed before, so it doesn't surprise me that they're seized up. When you have dissimilar metals like that, it tends to happen if you don't pull them out every once in a while. But you can see I got quite the mess on my hands. Quite the mess. But I got me a bucket of beer back there, and I'm just gonna sit here and grind away on this thing. I'll give you an update in a little while. So this is what happens when you start working on a boat. People just start showing up and seaford. So the next step was to build a dry enough area to be able to work on this boat, because you can't do fiberglass work outdoors, or you can, but it's an absolute nightmare. So I decided to frame up with 2x4s, because I had a ton of free 2x4s from my buddy Keegan. So I decided I was going to frame up a 2x4 building around this thing, wrap it in a really big heavy duty tarp, and that should suffice in order to have a nice dry workspace to do fiberglass work, cut this boat up, and really start putting it back together the way I want it. All right, cross beams added to give this thing some rigidity when we add these rafters here, to make sure this thing doesn't just fold right up on us. It's me again, and we are getting things prepared for the Seahawk. You saw our video on repairing the boat trailer. There she is. She's officially on the boat trailer. We could not take it all the way to the front, or it was way too tongue heavy, but it's over here at the horse barn. And you can see yesterday, me, Jackson, and my dad were able to build out our canopy structure here. And today we're gonna be reinforcing that and getting a tarp on this thing so I can start working on this boat and dry it in to where when you're fiberglassing, you're not dealing with the elements. So that's the mission today. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The finished product. We got the ridge in. That should help keep the peak nice and taut. We move these supports up so that the tarp wraps around the edges. We're going to staple it to this tarp. That should give us almost full coverage. I got a 50 by 30 tarp, which was ungodly expensive. It's going to be about 3 feet short on each side, but it should be lower than the boat, so I don't think we'll have an issue there. But we'll see. Should be interesting. All right, so tent structure is paying off, guys. We're dried in thanks to a tarp and some scrap wood out of the garage. I got a whole bucket of beer, got me a shop vac, got some lights. Oh my gosh, it's pouring, guys. Woo! Let's take this old puppy for a spin. I'd say the tarp's holding up pretty good. You can see our structure here. She's shifting and rocking under some of the remnants from Hurricane Helene. But all in all, other than a couple low spots that were holding water that I've fixed with some PVC for the time being, this thing has been a blessing already. I would not be out working in these conditions if it wasn't for the effort we put into building this tarp. So tonight's project, I'm over here, pouring down rain. We're gonna be trying to cut this saddle tank out. I believe it's a 75-gallon saddle tank. We're gonna be doing an in-floor gas tank where the motor used to be. So this is all gonna get cleared out as deck space. We're gonna have to remove this fake transom right here, get rid of these hatches, start digging our way to the back of the boat to eventually get to putting the bracket on this thing. But today's project is at least 1 saddle tank, maybe 2. It's a nasty day, guys, but you know what? I'd rather be doing this than sitting on a couch. So you always hear me talking about the right tool for the right job, and this is the right tool for that job. This is a DeWalt 20-volt multi-tool. And what we're doing today is we're just buzzing along underneath this tank like that. We're trying not to cut a hole in the tank because I might be able to use it for something up at the cabin, store diesel fuel. But we got to cut all the way around these edges, and this thing just eats through it with a bimetal blade like it's butter. Definitely, if you're doing fiberglass work, invest in a nice multi-tool. Holy bejesus, it's raining. Cats and dogs, my friends. Oh man, Seahawk, you guys suck at building boats, man. You got some beautiful designs, but this thing is tabbed into just some blocks of wood. And you got Dwayne holding what we just kicked out of this thing. Today's progress, tonight's progress. We roughed it through the remnants of a hurricane. Stuff blowing everywhere. We got the gas tank cut out all the way down to bare metal. You can see that's open, and we've cut the whole transom out, taken the hydraulic pump out, disconnected the trim tabs, got a bunch of the wiring out, just stripping this thing down until we get it to a point it's ready to start tearing the floor out and just reconstructing back from scratch. So there you go. I am gonna take a break and drink a couple cold beers. All right, progress report for night 2 of steady non-stop working. Still early, gotta do a little bit more, but so far got the fish box out, or the live well box out of the transom here. It ended up being glassed to the top with these braces that I think were just there to support the weight. I don't think they're actually tied into anything underneath the floor because the stringer's way over here. I don't think there's a stringer here. We'll find out when we take the floor up, but got that out. Had to cut it out from under here to get it loose on both sides. Now I want to point something out here. If you look, this is pretty wet and nasty looking right there. And I just want to point out that every time you drill holes in things and you think you seal around stuff and water gets down and runs around things, it finds a way into places like this. So you really got to be cautious when you're drilling holes in your boat. I think that's salvageable. It's not rotten. I did find a spot up over here that was pretty rotten. And I got the top peeled off the tank tonight. So working my way down, you can see I got that all pulled out, and she's actually loose, which is great. I got to cut this brace out the middle, keep cutting down. This tank goes all the way back to the transom of the boat back here, so I'm gonna have to cut this little fake wall out here, this transition, get those fittings off there, get all these hoses out the way, and actually cut it all the way back and pull that thing out to get the tank out. And I've cut a strip right here. You can see the stringer right there. I put a little nick in the stringer on the top of it there. I can fix that later. That's no big deal. But right here, got it cut out so that I got room to pull this tank out and pivot it this way and try to pull it out when the time comes. There's just not a lot of room to work there with this top cap on it. So that's what we got done today. Slowly making progress. All right, lots of work getting that diesel out of the boat. We're doing it 5 gallons at a time. We're up to 53 gallons, and officially the pump is running dry. So it's a lot of fuel, but it's not going to waste. So what do you do with 53 gallons of diesel? Luckily, that house right there runs off of this oil heat. I have an oil furnace that runs off of diesel. So we've been dumping it all right into this tank. And the good thing is this tank has a drip leg in it right here. You really can't see it, but there's a leg right here that you can drain off all the sludge. And that'll allow me to dump some pretty sloppy diesel in here and still have oil heat to warm that house for about a month, maybe even 2 months, just from the diesel we took out of this boat. All right, we are back working on the boat again. This is where we're at today. So I've cut out the floor almost back to the stringer here. And we got the gas tanks tore out. They're actually in really good shape. We got that one cut out. And I've started to pull almost everything out of here. That's today's process, is to cut this lip out and to get all these cables out of here and just start ripping all this stuff out. Trying to make room for everything that's going to need to go in here. And then I got to cut these pedestals out to make room for the gas tank to drop in. So that's the next step of this project. And we've gotten a bunch of the hardware out. We just started going around taking rod holders out. Downrigger holder, probably won't put that back. Got the back undercarriage rod holder like that one taken out. That was kind of a pain. Everything in here is just real punky. I don't know what I'm going to do about this yet. Probably going to cut this open from the top side here and redo it. Leave this bottom skin as just a catcher. Redo the whole inside, recore it, and then glass it down from the top again. But that's a whole project in itself. That's the last step. Once I get this floor all finished, we'll worry about the top. But for now, this is our project. Get all this old diesel plumbing out of here. Get the rest of this wire out. Get this wire and harness out. Get that to the guy that bought the motor. And begin the process of sealing all this stuff back up. Alright, well, so far I've been really lucky on the rot. But, right here, that board is just falling apart. And I felt back in there, it feels like it comes to right about here. And you can see that water would run back in here. Probably hit this back wall. They didn't have a good seal around this. It got in around it and just started rotting that. So anytime you're putting a hole in the floor, you just got to really make sure you seal around that and stuff. But so we're gonna have to cut this out. What I'm gonna do is take that multi-tool, run along the edge here. You can cut more perfect squares with that multi-tool. So I'm gonna do that. Cut this back until we're out of the rot, and we'll have to repair that. But it'll actually make it easier to get in here to the exhaust pipe that comes, what used to be the exhaust for that diesel. So it's not the worst thing in the world, and it'll allow me, I'll probably cut it way back so I can get to the sides of these, because I have to tie these into the stringers, which originally I was going to do just cut around them. But it sounds like now it's going to be more beneficial to just cut this rod out and take the whole section out and just put a fresh piece in here. So that's what I'm working on now. But these Seahawks are notorious for rot. So far I've gotten lucky. That luck ran out today, and like I said, I can just pull that wood out of there. It's just falling apart, just turning into like particle board. So we're gonna chop on that guy. So this is a curveball of a turning point in this video, if you will. Went out of town for work to Raleigh, got back and found that a windstorm had absolutely demolished the tarpaulin little structure we had made. Broke all the 2x4s, put some holes in the tarp, shredded some other spots. And so now I had to find out a better way to build a structure around this thing. This is what we have. All right, guys, well, this used to have a giant tent tarp over it, a bunch of 2x4s. The wind absolutely annihilated that stuff in the last week. Broke all the 2x4s, ripped the tarp all to pieces. So we're going with a much more permanent structure. We're gonna be doing T111 smart siding, tin roof. We're gonna do the whole 9 yards and just build a carport around this thing that I can repurpose up in Buckingham as a carport up there when I'm done. But we're gonna get this thing done in style. Gotta get it dried in pretty quickly. A lot of the floor is cut out. We don't want that getting wet. It's supposed to be dry for the next 2 days. It's a weekend. We're gonna try to get it done. All right, so progress. This is beginning of day 2. Yesterday, we got the walls built. I got the trusses built. I got one last end wall to build real quick, and then Keegan's coming over and we're gonna stand this thing up, put a roof on it. We got some tin roof. I got all the siding on top of my truck to side the outside. So it should be a fully dried in structure when we're done. Hanging out with my 2 buddies here at the horse field. And you can see we got a nice setup here now. The tarp city got blown down, so I went full blown on it. Built a full wooden enclosure, just capped the end off with a tarp just so that it would keep the rain from running down the boat. But this is where we're at today, folks. Fish box is out of the back. Everything's cut out down here where it was rotting around that hatch. That allowed me to get to these stringers on both sides and examine those. We're going to glass those in tighter since we're going to be putting a bracket on the back. Gas tanks are cut out on both sides. The lip around the engine box is cut out. Engine box is gone. Still got to cut these pedestals out here. That's going to be after I clean this engine compartment out. We're going to call it a wrap there for part 1, just to keep the video under 20 minutes. But so far, that's 3 months, maybe 4 months of hard work. We had our structure demolished once by the wind, had to repair that. But we're making steady progress. It's been so cold. We've had unprecedented amount of snow this year. That's really keeping us from being able to really work on the boat itself. So in the meantime, I've been in the garage. I'll give you a sneak peek of some of those things we're working on. But make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's going to be a lot of pieces to this series. And if you don't want to miss out on them, hit that notification bell so you know when these new videos come out. We're building a console. You can see that's behind me right here. We built this console from scratch. Building a giant fish box bench seat. This is going to be awesome. We got a tackle. We're repurposing the seat pedestals. These are going to be tackle storage units. Just all kinds of stuff. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification. Give us some love. Leave some comments. And we'll catch you on the next video. Blair signing out for now. See you on part 2.